Why are some designers frustrated at work, stuck in low pay, struggling to progress, or giving up on the field altogether? Well, here's a few things that I've had to reckon with in my career. 6 reasons why designers fail. Let's go! Hello friends, welcome back to Flux Academy, the online design school. My name is Matt Brunton, and in this video I want to tackle some of the negativity that I overhear. Why are people not progressing in their career? Why are they struggling? Why are they feeling down on the industry as a whole? There are problems with clients, low pay, lack of opportunity, but we don't want you to fail. And everyone does go through challenges in life and in work, but I reckon with the right support and the right mentality, we can overcome them. So I want to see creatives supporting each other. So here's 6 things that have held me back at different times, and I've seen others struggle with as well over the last 20 years. So here we go. Number 1, they take feedback personally. Designers fail because they take feedback personally. When somebody says, I don't like your work, what we're really hearing is, I don't like you. And when we take things personally, it can really knock our confidence, and we think they don't like me, I'm not a good designer, I've put so much effort into this, or we just start getting frustrated and we start saying it's about them, they're a terrible client, they don't know what they're talking about, they wouldn't know good design if it knocked them over the head. Might be true, but I would encourage you to think about that feedback and see that as a design challenge in itself, just like you did with your layout or your design solution. Take the feedback that you've been given and figure out, where is it coming from? What is the issue? And it might be, that they're right. I worked with a particularly brilliant but also particularly difficult creative director for about a 6-week project, helping him launch a campaign. And I learned so much from that, but during the time, it was horrible. I was in a challenging place in my own personal life, and it was very difficult to be in an environment where somebody was so prickly, so difficult to deal with, and it wasn't a good environment for me. But I still have taken away so much about design and about process from that time working with that creative director, even though it was difficult. And just because I had personal challenges there, it doesn't mean that the advice wasn't good. So I can't take that personally. So your client or your creative director, art director, senior designer that you're working with, they might just be right. Your tutor at university might just be right. So first of all, we have to consider that and we have to take it on board. But we also have to work through what's being said and really try and figure out, where is it coming from, and take things back to the brief, take things back to the goals, and work through it professionally. You're there to be professional, not to be emotional in a way that causes problems and awkwardness. And though we all go through challenges, being professional, not taking things personally, will help you keep moving forward. It's not about you. It's just a piece of design. So you have to separate those two things, your own worth and your own value, which you get from your own beliefs and your troop, your tribe that you're a part of, and separate that from the feedback that you get on your work. Number 2, they don't develop their skills. So when I started, it was Macromedia Flash and Macromedia Fireworks, and it was Freehand, and it was Quark Express. And some of you think I'm speaking in a foreign language right now, but these were the preeminent software programs before Adobe bought some of these companies and other things were superseded. And now it's progressing again. Are we seeing a move away from Adobe? We're definitely seeing a new broadening and new players coming into the market to disturb that. But whatever you work in, you need to learn new software as it comes around and have a level of proficiency in it. And you need to decide, as I talked about in the generalist and specialist video, what you're going to focus on. Perhaps you can't learn every piece of software that ever comes out to do with creativity to expert level, but you have to move with what's happening in the industry, what skills are in demand, both general design skills or whatever your creative discipline is, but also particular softwares or coding languages. You need to move along and be able to use the tools of the day. Keep developing those skills, keep sharpening, keep getting better. Don't rely on, just the level that you're at when you started. You won't really progress. But not just developing hard skills, as they call, but also I noticed that a lot of designers that struggle, they don't develop their people skills. There's a stereotype about designers. I think it's developers, really. Can we just pile in on developers? No, that's not cool. But hunched over their laptops, wearing a hoodie, crisps, potato chips on the desk, don't really sleep, in a dark room, little lamplight. That's a stereotype, isn't it? But the kind of idea of designers are just lost in their screens, and for a lot of creatives like that, the photographers, videographers prefer being behind the camera, not in front of it, or coders are just in the matrix. And it's a bit of a stereotype, but there can be an aspect where maybe more introverts take up design. They like being able to express themselves, on the computer or through their creative skills or illustration, whatever it be. And if you don't develop those skills, you will find yourself stuck. You don't want to be that person who's just, no, they're really good at what they do, but they're just hidden away there. Even if you don't want to move into a leadership role where you may be an art director or creative director or design director, you're running a team, maybe running your own agency where you've got to work with clients, you need to still develop your people skills. Even if you just want to be a great operator of what you do, you still need to have empathy to be a good team member. You need to be able to have good emotional intelligence, recognize how other people are doing, be able to communicate politely, and be able to communicate concisely and articulately about what you do as well. Being able to talk about design and being able to present your work, being able to sell your work, whatever your role on the team is, even if you're not the person up in front of a boardroom full of clients, you still need to be able to present your work to whomever your line manager is and being able to express that. So developing people skills just makes you a better team member. At least you've been given more opportunities, more recommendations, and doing better within your role by being able to show your work as opposed to the person who never gets up from behind their desk. Number 4, an underrated one, they don't develop their taste. Taste is one of the primary reasons why you are hired as a designer. You know what looks good. And this is something that we need to develop. And I see a lot of designers that they know all the skills. They can press all the buttons on Photoshop. They know all the features, but they don't have great taste. And that means their portfolios don't look that great and they're not going to progress. There's some people that teach software, or often notice in this space, and they're fantastic at teaching software and they're found a great niche there, but maybe the design examples that they show aren't that brilliant because they haven't developed this area. And I see a lot of people stuck in roles and maybe wondering why their portfolio isn't getting picked up, even though they're really sharp in the software. It's because it's about the wider design skills, and that comes about developing taste. So how do you do that? Well, there's a few things. Number 1, you want to be a student in general of visual culture if design is your speciality. So that means visiting art galleries. It means getting books. It means appreciating architecture and sculpture and just different feels and just figuring out, well, what is it about this that works? Why is it beautiful? Why is it interesting? Noticing the focal point of different features that draws you in. Noticing form and light and dark, and just being a general appreciator of aesthetics, but really taking your time with that and being somebody that notices things. That will really help you. The other thing that you can do is learn the language. It's really hard to understand a culture without the language. You gain so much more embedded in that. And when you have the words to articulate things, that's when you understand them and you're developing them. I notice that with my small children. So they've learnt to talk, their involvement in things just grows massively because they're appreciating what is going on rather than just experiencing it in a very passive way. It looks like I need to learn to talk as well. So being able to learn the language, being able to learn the words. So once you know what kerning is, you see it everywhere. Once you know what leading is, you see it everywhere. When you learn about focal points, when you learn about white balance and hierarchy and proportion, and you begin to see these things all the time, and your taste develops. So learning good design principles and fundamentals will help your eye to see these things and learn these, and then your taste develops over a long, long time with experience. Another thing about experience relates to point 5, and a lot of designers fail because they remain order takers. Now, a waiter, I'm sure, is a noble profession, and working is noble, so nothing against the waiters. But as a designer, if you just remain an order taker, you will stick at one level. You won't be able to grow and develop in your career to a senior or a director level. And even as I said before, if you want to remain as a specialist, you still need to be able to present. You still need to be able to have confidence in your ideas, to be seen as an expert in what you do. You need to have some knowledge of the wider world, of business knowledge, because that will help you solve business problems, and that means you become more valuable as a designer. So not just doing your little bit, but knowing how it all fits together means less explaining, less briefing. It means fewer revisions. And so it's having some confidence that you can go back, whether it's to your line manager or your client, and to be able to have the confidence in your skills and in what you do, and be an expert consultant and being able to advise them. And this doesn't come in moments. There needs to be some patience around this. We need to understand this can develop over years. But if you develop your people skills, your presenting skills, your business knowledge, and your confidence, you will begin to move beyond just being an order taker and being recognized as an expert yourself. And number 6, they think small. Often when people are failing, they're very trapped in their own excuses, and it's easy to do. I empathize with it, but if you want to succeed, you have to get beyond it. And people say, where I live, design is very low paid, but we can all slip into that mentality. I mean, where I live in the north of England, if I was just to go and get a full-time job as a graphic designer, I'd be earning a third of what I'm earning. But I work with mainly clients in London, so I've decided that I'm not going to be limited by the geography of the place where I am, but I can work with people a couple of 100 miles away. And you too can do that now. We have the opportunity to work remotely, to work with people all over the world, and there is so much opportunity out there. And often we're just thinking small. We think that we can't do it in our field or in our chosen skill or in our chosen location, but really it's a mentality. Why couldn't you succeed? Why couldn't you start your own agency or your own business, being a designer within a startup? There's so many opportunities out there, but often we just tell ourselves that it's not going to happen for us or that we're not good enough. But if you're thinking small, then get inspired, start reading other people's stories. And if you think that you're not good enough, my advice is go just a little bit out of your comfort zone. Go and take opportunities and say yes to things where you feel a little bit uncomfortable, because there is where you will grow. So instead of playing out negative situations in your head, try some positive affirmations. Instead of saying these things that we've been talked about that cause people to fail, why not say things like feedback is not personal, or I will make time to develop my skills. I will approach everybody with respect and curiosity. I will take care to develop my taste. I will grow in my leadership. There are more opportunities out there in design that I could ever even take in my lifetime. And here's a bonus one. I'll balance tenacity with patience. It's very unlikely that you're going to become the creative director at New York's top advertising agency 1 year out of school. So you need to understand that these things will develop throughout your career, and they'll all apply in different ways and become deeper truths as you progress. Think and act long term, and paradoxically, you'll get there quicker. Be nice to people along the way. Develop your skills and invest in yourself for a 20, 40 year period, and you can see real benefits. We're here to help you. So that's why we do what we do here at Flux Academy. And our programs are one way of doing that. We support you with professional coaches and give you a proven process in web design and brand design and webflow building and freelancing. And that will help you develop and have confidence in your process and what you're doing. So if you want to check out our programs, links in the description as always, and subscribe obviously for more and more free content every single week here on YouTube to help you grow as a designer. Until next time, happy designing.